This is a thing that most people want to avoid at all costs, and it's the number one thing that you can do to really move things forward in your life, in your business, in relationship, your health. It's so important. It's about facing your stuff. If you're new here, welcome to my podcast. I'm Serenity Iris. If you've been following for a while, welcome back. This is part of the Healing with Prosperity mini-series, and I wanted to go through 3 ways that when you face your stuff, it really leads to success in whatever area you choose. I love business, I love personal health, and living a good life in general. But you choose, you get to apply it to whatever you want. But it's the thing that makes us feel sort of squirmish, uncomfortable. Oh, we don't want to look at the ugly underbelly of our stuff. I have done a previous episode where I really don't swear much. It's not that it's a never, but I try not to. So yeah, the SHIT, face your stuff. Just calling it stuff, all right? The G version. The third thing is probably one of the most important things. So you will want to make sure you stay tuned for that third piece. But let's start with the first one. And this is about healing your unhealed wounds, healing your unhealed wounds. And this shows up in so many different ways. We have the divine masculine, we have the divine feminine within ourselves. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, we have both of those energies. And if they have been wounded at some point, usually in childhood, it can really lead to impacting you today. So for example, when I had my back against the wall and I was just feeling completely overwhelmed, dealing with two properties, my business, I was going through a very significant personal change or maybe even crisis. And I found myself living off of borrowed money, which made me feel sick to my stomach. I really had to dig pretty deep within myself to get the courage to face my stuff because there is no other way around it. And I was trying I was reading all the right books, listening to all the right podcasts. I had signed up for marketing programs, coaching, because I thought, okay, well, to turn things around financially with my business, it has to be the marketing, right? That's the gap that I had coming out of school. And so I thought, all I have to do is fill the gap. I can learn my way out of this. But nothing really changed until I started to change from the inside out. And there were some deep wounds around worthiness or feeling unworthy, wounds around confidence and speaking up and showing up, right? So I was that kid who I would hide behind my mom's legs and my immigrant parents, they were trying to encourage me to talk to strangers to ask for directions and I think they were maybe they were hiding behind their own immigrant experience in the language barrier. And because I knew English better than they did, I think it was partly they were using me to get directions because my English was better, but also they were probably trying to encourage me to be brave enough, courageous enough to talk to new people. I guess talking to strangers is an okay thing. It was with parental supervision, right? So and it was the last thing that I wanted to do. Like I was so shy. I didn't want to talk to anybody. And so I went from being that terrified, shy little kid around, behind my mom's legs to then having to confront that. So what am I actually concerned about? Judgment, fear of rejection, what if I mess up? What if my videos are no good? What if they suck? And I did them. If you see some of my earlier things, they were not as well done as they are now. And I'm sure if I were to fast forward 10 years from now, my videos 10 years in the future will be much better than they are now. So we're always in this process of growing and evolution. But like when you first start with something, it's these inner things, it's the inner game, it's the mindsets, it's the attitudes that can really make or break something. It can really hold someone back, or if someone is going to acknowledge that there are wounds around worthiness or showing up and confidence and many other things, um, that when we actually face those and take the action anyway, that's the difference. That's how I was able to get myself out of a very big ditch, metaphorical ditch, and get myself going so that I could breathe, so that I could provide for myself and family, so that I could do the things that I needed to do. And when that happened, it was almost like on reflecting back, like when I finally felt like I could breathe again with the finances and the business, I was able to look back and realize, oh, I took a deep dive and I did face myself. I did confront that, I needed some confidence in an area. And even if I wasn't skilled in that area, I had to start and do it anyway. I was building up my inner confidence while I was building up my experiential confidence simultaneously to be doing the thing and to face the possibility or the actual rejection and all of these things, so that I became stronger as a part of that process. And I'm forever grateful. And I'm still continuing this inner journey, right? And I don't think it ever really does end. So I would say keep going with it if you've already started your journey. If you haven't started yet and you feel like you've been avoiding these things, so take your first step. Like go ahead and face yourself, right? So it could be unhealed wounds around money. It could be unhealed mindsets around what does success even mean to you, right? What does that look like for you? Do you feel worthy of actually living a life that affords more freedom for you? Can you envision a new level of vibrancy and energy and health? Right? I feel like I'm better today than I was 20 years ago in terms of my health and awareness. Um, so there are aspects when it comes to the masculine and feminine energies, and working with someone to go deep on those is really, really worth it. So if you feel like the areas around confidence, right, discipline, those are masculine energy qualities, are areas of, growth for you, potential areas of growth for you, then it's probably something in the masculine energy that you picked up along the way. On the flip side, when it comes to more the feminine energy of being really feeling like you're worthy of receiving good, just by you embodying that feeling and spirit of worthiness, and that it's okay to want more, to desire more. It's okay to be in that creative flow and wanting creative freedom in your life and your business. That's the divine feminine, so we want to honor that. But if there's some kind of a block, maybe, so some symptoms of that would be not being able to access your emotions readily, or maybe it feels like you're on this roller coaster ride of emotions and you're at the whim of that, and it just goes up and down depending on what's happening outside of you. Then that is an indication that that potentially is an area of growth and healing for you. And maybe there's some masculine energy healing and some feminine energy healing that could be done, because really it's a dance, right? We have both within us. So it's very, very important. Super, super important to get to the root of these things, to heal them. And then on the other side of it, it's so delicious and wonderful. It just feels like, you know what it feels like? It's like you feel more like yourself. It's like all these parts that were hidden or dormant just start to come to the light. So it's amazing. So I wasn't planning on going so long for that first one, but it's so important. And we're getting to the most important one and the third one, so stay tuned. All right, the second one. You want to connect regularly and deeply with your higher self, right? So whatever your understanding of spirituality or your practice and connection with faith and God is, your higher self, there's different language around it, but my relationship with it's not the part of me that is judgmental or is critical of me, or, oh, you could have done better, you should have done better. It's not that part of me. My higher self is the part of me that will be tuned in to intuition, will get some spiritual guidance, and it will be very pointed, very simple, direct. And if I don't listen and honor that guidance, if I don't listen to that and honor that guidance, it'll just keep popping up in different circumstances, different situations. And so let's take the judging yourself, because that's where it's very palpably different. So there's different ways. One of my favorite ways to access and connect with my higher self is simply to breathe. And I probably have a video floating around here that guides you through that. So if you're interested, you can check that one out. But you just connect with your breathing. It's a very common meditative practice, and it's very simple to do, right? You just start noticing your breath. And as you do that, you bring your attention to and your beingness to this moment right here, right now. You're not thinking about the past, you're not worried about the future. It's right here, right now, where there's this beautiful stillness. And in this space of stillness, you then have much clearer access to great wisdom, to higher levels of guidance, and your higher self. And so you can start to develop and build a relationship with your higher self. You can ask questions like, what is the highest guidance for me today? How can I best show up to serve today? What is the best next step for me to show up in my highest expression? Questions like that will bring about pretty awesome answers. So then you can ask, you can do this eyes open, eyes closed, writing. There will be an answer that follows. You might see something, you might hear something, you might feel something in your body. It might be a word, a simple word, it might be a simple sentence, and it might be like pages and pages of writing, so, and everything in between. So then when you listen to that guidance, like for example, I was asking about my business, and it was coming up to that time when I needed to grow my team. So I get this guidance from my higher self saying, yep, okay, go for it, hire this person, and you've got, like, just basically that was the direction. And I felt smaller I felt like I was kind of challenging that guidance. I was like, well, can I even do this? Do I have the bandwidth for this? And my higher self was like, you know how this goes. You make the decision first, and then the space opens up, the resources come. And so I followed that instead of like arguing with it for days. I went with that guidance. I followed through with that guidance. And then it was like within the next day or two, a new client enrolled, this money came up. It just, and space, I just felt like the space had opened up in my life and my awareness. That's what really happened. The space opened up in my awareness so that then the money could flow in. I could see how it was possible in my calendar to make this happen. So it's really interesting, and your higher self is not going to be harsh or judgmental. It's going to be coming from unconditional love. And so that's one way to discern. That's one way to discern. Are you coming from that kind of busy, chaotic mind of yours that's coming off of old programming, or is it much clearer guidance that then you could employ your mind and give it a job to go ahead and create the thing? So, okay, with expanding the team, all right, we've got to set up some training and some, we've got to meet on these things. So then the mind had a job to do, but from that higher guidance. So I use my connection with my higher self for relationships, for my life, and for my business. It's been really, really fascinating, and I've been sharing this with our members as well, and they've been loving it. They've been growing in huge ways. So if this actually resonates with you, if you like what I'm sharing, if you want to really get into the deeper parts of what really leads to results, where over 95% of your results come from your mindset, your energy vibration. You can check out a free training. It's in the description. You'll see a free masterclass that's available to you. So you just check it out, just watch it. And then you'll understand how there are these three pillars to really shifting your programming, shifting your rewiring that's happening automatically, right? If you're not intentional about it, it's just you're running, not just you, like I am, all of us are running on autopilot, this programming that's invisible. And so when we get intentional about it, you can decide on what programming is better for you in serving your life and serving your business and, enjoying more freedom and abundance. And it requires these three pillars. So check out the training. It's amazing. I've been sharing it over the years, and people really, really benefit from that. And part of that is really understanding your blind spot. But I have other episodes around the blind spot, so I'm gonna get back to get back to facing your stuff. All right, let's get into the third way. All right, so this is probably the most uncomfortable one, but it's by far, well, they're all connected. If you can get over the discomfort, it will lead to huge wins, huge impact for your life, your well-being, and your business as well. And that is really harvesting the lessons and facing challenges as they come up, because they will come up. But instead of brushing them away or hoping they go away or ignoring them or hiding from them or just like, trying to close your eyes and maybe if I close my eyes, I won't see it. Really facing it and doing so with intentionality. And if you need help, like from a mentor coach, get it so that you can see it and experience it from a different perspective. So that you can see it and experience it from a different perspective. So that you're not going through and experiencing a challenge and feeling like, oh no, all these terrible things happened to me. Why is this happening to me? I'm a victim of this external thing that I feel like I can't control. And that's one way to experience it and approach it. But if you actually were to shift the perspective and see it as this potentially incredible gift and lesson that is perfect for you right now in your growth and evolution. And you might be maybe you're a spiritual seeker, or you have this great connection with the divine and you do all this wonderful, you pray and you do all this. But this is the practical application of all of this, right? All of those incredible wise teachings and principles. It's when we encounter something that has a charge or triggers something and it feels like a challenge, this is like our golden opportunity. And I say golden and I really mean that, like this gold that can enhance your life, that can enhance your business and finances if you're willing to face it and see it from a different perspective. So, because otherwise, if you don't, the other option that you have, and there is another option, is that the universe will just keep cycling through this one major lesson, same theme, and it'll come dressed up in different ways, and it'll get stronger and louder and more annoying and more difficult until you really acknowledge it, until you really face it, until you really do that deeper inner work of shifting that perspective. So let me see about an example here. Well, I mean, that that chapter of my life when I had my back against the wall, I was living off of borrowed money to pay for groceries. There were definitely days, I don't know how many, but probably weeks, where I felt like a victim of my circumstance. I felt like, oh my goodness, like how did this happen to me, right? So all of my energy was spent, wasted in questioning, like, how did this happen? Why did this happen? This is awful that this happened. Um, but then the moment I faced it and took 100% responsibility for it, for my experience of it, it was tough. It was this bitter pill, but like beyond a bitter pill, it was like, oh my gosh, all the decisions, the thought patterns, my beliefs, my behaviors, my actions have culminated into this. And I created this, and I did not like it. It was so painful. It was one of the most painful experiences of my life. And acknowledging it and accepting 100% responsibility for that, saying, yeah, I do not like any of this, but I accept responsibility. I created that. The moment I did that was the moment I could see the possibility of something else. The moment I accepted full responsibility was the moment I could feel like, oh, well, if I created that, then I can create this. And this is what I want. So a lot of this is really, it really comes down to you facing a challenge, but from a different perspective. So taking ownership, taking full responsibility is huge. So then what happened was, and if you have a business where you get to work with customers or clients, and if you ever have one of those days where you just feel kind of off, right? And you notice that people start canceling or rescheduling for another later time, it's sort of like the universe is responding to you feeling off and you sending out a message saying, okay, I'm feeling a little off today. Can I have a lighter load? Well, if you can turn off the taps and can acknowledge that it was you turning off the taps, not just some like external condition, it's so powerful because then it means you can turn on the taps. If you can turn off the taps to your health and well-being, your energy, relationships, it means you can turn on the taps to your health and your well-being and relationships and abundance. Let me know if this makes sense. And if you resonate with this, if you're ready to turn on the taps for something, feel free to share it in the comments. Just facing a challenge like this and shifting the perspective, taking 100% responsibility is so huge. And the integration of all of this is, it's got to be experiential, right? It's important to really practice this, not just hear about these ideas, but to really internalize it and practice it. So it's not just some verse in a book or some kind of a teaching that you hear on a podcast or a video, including my own. It's the actual lived experience of it, the practice of it. This is the real work. And then when you do this, on the other side of it is huge, is the success of your business, of relationships, of your health, of all that you want. So if you resonated with this, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I love the feedback. If you have any comments, share this with anyone who would benefit. And if you'd like to check out the free training, go to the description for the free masterclass training. And yeah, check out the other segments on healing with prosperity, this mini series, if you're also curious about the emotional healing and more of the physical, tactical things that you can do. I cover that in some other trainings as well, other podcasts as well. So super happy to have shared this time and space with you. I'm Serenity Iris, and I will talk to you soon.